In a galaxy far, far away, there was a powerful alien emperor named Zorax. He was the ruler of a vast empire that stretched across many star systems. Zorax was very proud of his advanced technology and believed that his species was the most intelligent in the entire universe. One day, while sitting on his throne, Zorax heard his advisors talking about a small, distant planet called Earth. The advisors told him that Earth was home to a species called humans, who were far less advanced than the aliens. Zorax laughed when he heard this. He couldn't believe that such a primitive species could exist in his galaxy. Zorax decided to learn more about these humans. He called for his best scientist, Dr. Xylox, to gather information about Earth and its inhabitants. Dr. Xylox used the Empire's advanced telescopes and listening devices to study the humans from afar. He learned that humans had only recently started exploring space and that their technology was much simpler than the aliens. After reviewing the information, Zorax laughed even harder. "These humans are so weak and stupid," he said to his advisors. "They still use fossil fuels and haven't even colonized their own moon yet. They are no match for our superior technology and intelligence." Zorax's advisors nodded in agreement, but some of them looked a bit uneasy. They had heard rumors that humans were more resourceful and adaptable than they appeared. However, no one dared to contradict the emperor, who was known for his short temper and cruel punishments. Emboldened by his own arrogance, Zorax started making plans to expand his empire even further. He wanted to conquer every planet in the galaxy, and he decided that Earth would be his first target. "It will be so easy to take over this primitive planet," he said to his advisors. "The humans won't even know what hit them." Zorax ordered his best military strategist, General Xander, to start preparing for the invasion of Earth. General Xander had led many successful conquests in the past, and he was eager to prove himself once again. He assembled a huge fleet of alien spaceships, each one equipped with the most advanced weapons and shields. As the alien fleet set out towards Earth, Zorax sat back on his throne and smiled. He was confident that the humans would soon be under his control and that he would be remembered as the greatest emperor in the history of the galaxy. Little did Zorax know, however, that the humans were not as weak and primitive as he believed. They had been watching the skies for years, using their own telescopes and satellites to monitor for signs of alien life. When they detected the approaching alien fleet, they quickly mobilized their defenses and prepared for battle. The humans may not have had the same level of technology as the aliens, but they had something else on their side: a fierce determination to protect their home and their way of life. They were not going to let some arrogant alien emperor take over their planet without a fight. As the alien fleet drew closer to Earth, the humans launched their own spaceships to intercept them. These ships may have looked small and outdated compared to the alien vessels, but they were piloted by brave and skilled humans who knew how to make the most of their limited resources. The stage was set for an epic battle between two vastly different civilizations. On one side, the powerful and technologically advanced aliens, led by a ruthless emperor who believed he was invincible. On the other side, the underestimated and resilient humans, fighting to defend their home against seemingly impossible odds. No one knew who would emerge victorious from this clash of worlds, but one thing was certain: the fate of the galaxy would be decided in the skies above Earth. The human race was about to face its greatest challenge yet, and the alien emperor was about to learn that he had greatly underestimated the power and determination of the human spirit. As the alien fleet approached Earth, Emperor Zorax grew increasingly confident in his plan to conquer the planet. He had no doubt that his superior technology and vast army would make quick work of the primitive humans. However, he knew that he needed more information about the humans' defenses and capabilities before launching a full-scale invasion. To gather this information, Zorax sent his most skilled spy, Commander Xylox, to infiltrate Earth and learn everything he could about the humans. Xylox was a master of disguise and had successfully infiltrated many other planets in the past. He was confident that he could blend in with the humans and gather the information that Zorax needed. Xylox boarded a small, unmarked spaceship and set off towards Earth. As he approached the planet, he activated his ship's cloaking device, making it invisible to human radar and satellites. He landed his ship in a remote area and quickly disguised himself as a human. Using his advanced technology, Xylox created a fake human identity and background story. He chose the name John Smith and posed as a tourist visiting Earth from a distant country. He even used a special device to alter his appearance, giving himself human-like features and skin tone. With his disguise in place, Xylox set out to explore Earth and learn about human society. He visited big cities and small towns, observing how humans lived and interacted with each other. He was surprised to see how diverse and complex human culture was, with many different languages, religions, and traditions. Xylox also studied human technology, visiting museums and research centers to learn about their scientific achievements. While human technology was primitive compared to the aliens, Xylox was impressed by how resourceful and innovative humans were. They had developed many clever solutions to problems, often using limited resources and simple materials. As Xylox continued his mission, he began to develop a grudging respect for the humans. Despite their lack of advanced technology, they were a resilient and adaptable species, able to survive and thrive in many different environments. Xylox began to wonder if Zorax had underestimated the humans' abilities. However, Xylox knew that he had a job to do. He needed to gather more specific information about Earth's defenses and military capabilities. He hacked into human computer systems and databases, using his advanced technology to bypass their security measures. He also eavesdropped on military communications and observed human weapons and vehicles from a distance. What Xylox discovered surprised him. While Earth's military technology was not as advanced as the aliens, the humans had developed many effective weapons and strategies for defending their planet. They had a vast network of satellites and early warning systems that could detect incoming threats from space. They also had powerful missiles and lasers that could shoot down enemy spaceships. Furthermore, Xylox learned that the humans had been preparing for the possibility of an alien invasion for years. They had created special military units and protocols for responding to extraterrestrial threats. They had also been working on developing their own advanced spacecraft and weapons, using reverse-engineered alien technology that they had acquired from previous encounters. As Xylox compiled his findings and prepared to report back to Zorax, he couldn't shake the feeling that the aliens might be making a mistake by underestimating the humans. He had seen firsthand how resourceful and determined the humans could be, and he worried that a full-scale invasion might not go as smoothly as Zorax anticipated. Nevertheless, Xylox knew that he had to follow orders. He transmitted his report to Zorax and prepared to return to the alien fleet. As he boarded his spaceship and took off towards the stars, he couldn't help but feel a sense of unease about what was to come. Little did Xylox know, his mission had not gone unnoticed by the humans. A secret government agency had been tracking his movements and had even managed to intercept some of his communications. They knew that an alien invasion was imminent, and they were ready to defend their planet with everything they had. The stage was set for a clash of civilizations, a battle that would determine the fate of not just Earth, but the entire galaxy. The humans were ready to fight for their survival, and the alien emperor was about to learn the true meaning of human resilience and courage. As Commander Xylox made his way back to the alien fleet, he couldn't stop thinking about what he had seen on Earth. Despite the primitive nature of human technology, he had been impressed by their ingenuity and resourcefulness. He had also been surprised by the depth and complexity of human culture, which was unlike anything he had encountered on other planets. When Xylox arrived back at the fleet, he immediately went to report his findings to Emperor Zorax. He told the Emperor about the humans' military capabilities, including their early warning systems and advanced weapons. He also mentioned the secret government agency that had been tracking his movements, suggesting that the humans were more prepared for an alien invasion than they had previously thought. To Xylox's surprise, Zorax seemed unconcerned by this information. The emperor was convinced that his superior technology and vast army would be more than a match for the humans, no matter how resourceful they might be. He dismissed Psylocke's warnings and ordered the fleet to prepare for the invasion. As the alien ships began to move into position around Earth, Psylocke couldn't shake the feeling that they were making a mistake. He had seen firsthand how determined the humans could be, and he worried that underestimating them could be a costly error. However, he knew that he had to follow orders, and so he took his place on the bridge of one of the ships and prepared for battle. Meanwhile, on Earth, the secret government agency that had been tracking Psylocke's movements was working frantically to prepare for the impending invasion. They had been analyzing the data they had intercepted from Psylocke's communications, trying to learn as much as they could about the aliens' technology and tactics. One of the agency's top scientists, Dr. Emily Johnson, had been studying the alien technology for years. She had reverse-engineered many of their advanced systems and had even developed some of her own innovations based on what she had learned. When the agency received word of the impending invasion, Dr. Johnson knew that her expertise would be essential in defending Earth. Working around the clock, Dr. Johnson and her team began to modify and upgrade Earth's existing spacecraft and weapons systems. They incorporated some of the alien technology they had acquired, making the ships faster, more maneuverable, and more heavily armed. They also developed new defensive systems, such as force fields and energy shields, which could protect the ships and their crews from the aliens' advanced weapons. As the alien fleet began to enter Earth's orbit, the humans launched their own ships to intercept them. The upgraded human ships were a sight to behold, sleek and powerful, bristling with advanced weapons and defense systems. The aliens were taken aback by the humans' technological prowess, having underestimated their capabilities based on Psylocke's initial report. The battle that followed was intense and brutal. The alien ships were larger and more heavily armed, but the human ships were faster and more agile. The humans also had the advantage of knowing their own planet's terrain and atmosphere, which they used to their advantage in the fighting. As the battle raged on, Psylocke found himself in a difficult position. He had grown to respect the humans during his time on Earth, and he couldn't help but feel a sense of unease about the invasion. When he saw how bravely the humans were fighting, despite the odds against them, he knew that he had to make a choice. In a moment of clarity, Psylocke realized that he couldn't continue to fight for a cause he didn't believe in. He had seen the best of humanity during his time on Earth, and he knew that they deserved a chance to live in peace. With a heavy heart, he made the decision to defect from the alien fleet and join the humans in their fight. Using his advanced knowledge of the alien technology, Psylocke was able to provide valuable intelligence to the human forces. He helped them to exploit weaknesses in the alien ship's defenses and to develop new strategies for attacking them. With Psylocke's help, the tide of the battle began to turn in favor of the humans. As the fighting continued, it became clear that the aliens had vastly underestimated the humans' capabilities. Despite their advanced technology and vast numbers, they were being outfought and outmaneuvered at every turn. Emperor Orcs, watching the battle from his command ship, began to realize that he had made a terrible mistake. He had let his arrogance and pride blind him to the true strength of the human race, and now his empire was paying the price. As the battle between the humans and the aliens raged on, Commander Psylocke found himself working closely with Dr. Emily Johnson and her team. Together, they were able to develop new strategies and technologies that gave the humans a fighting chance against the superior alien forces. One day, while analyzing data from the battle, Dr. Johnson noticed something strange. She realized that one of the alien ships was behaving differently than the others. It seemed to be more maneuverable and was using advanced evasive tactics that the other ships weren't employing. Intrigued, Dr. Johnson asked Psylocke if he knew anything about this particular ship. To her surprise, Psylocke told her that it was his own personal ship, which he had left behind when he defected to the human side. He explained that he had made some modifications to the ship's systems before leaving, hoping to give the humans an edge in the battle. Excited by this revelation, Dr. Johnson asked Psylocke if he would be willing to take her and a small team of engineers to his ship so that they could study it more closely. Psylocke agreed, and they set off towards the battle, determined to reach the ship and unlock its secrets. When they arrived at the site of the battle, they found that Psylocke's ship was heavily guarded by alien forces. Undeterred, Psylocke and Dr. Johnson came up with a plan to distract the aliens while they snuck aboard the ship. Using a series of holographic decoys and false radio transmissions, they were able to draw the alien guards away from the ship long enough to board it and seal the entrance behind them. Once inside, Dr. Johnson and her team set to work analyzing the ship's systems. They were amazed by the advanced technology they found, including a revolutionary propulsion system that allowed the ship to travel at incredible speeds and make sharp turns that would be impossible for any human spacecraft. As they worked, Psylocke told Dr. Johnson about his own history with the ship. He had designed and built it himself, using a combination of alien and human technology. He had always been fascinated by the idea of combining the best of both worlds, and he believed that this ship represented the pinnacle of his achievements. Dr. Johnson was impressed by Psylocke's ingenuity and creativity. She realized that he was not just a skilled engineer, but also a visionary who saw the potential for cooperation and collaboration between different species. She knew that if they could find a way to mass-produce ships like this one, it could give the humans a real chance of winning the war against the aliens. Working together, Psylocke and Dr. Johnson began to develop a plan to replicate the ship's advanced systems and incorporate them into the human fleet. They knew that it would be a difficult and dangerous process, but they were determined to see it through. As they worked, the battle outside continued to rage. The humans were holding their own against the alien forces, but they knew that they couldn't keep fighting forever. They needed a decisive victory, and they needed it soon. Finally, after days of intense work and experimentation, Psylocke and Dr. Johnson emerged from the ship with a prototype of their new propulsion system. They quickly installed it on one of the human ships and took it out for a test flight. The results were astonishing. The ship moved with incredible speed and agility, easily outmaneuvering the alien forces and delivering devastating blows to their defenses. The humans watched in amazement as the tide of the battle began to turn in their favor. Inspired by this success, Psylocke and Dr. Johnson worked tirelessly to install the new propulsion system on as many human ships as possible. They also shared their knowledge with other human engineers and scientists, teaching them how to build and maintain the advanced technology. As more and more human ships were upgraded with the new technology, the balance of power began to shift. The aliens, who had once seemed invincible, now found themselves on the defensive, struggling to keep up with the humans' newfound capabilities. Emperor Orcs, watching the battle from his command ship, was furious. He couldn't believe that his own technology was being used against him, and by a mere human, no less. He vowed to crush the humans once and for all, no matter what it took. But as the battle raged on, it became clear that the Emperor's arrogance and pride had been his downfall. He had underestimated the humans, and now his empire was paying the price. The humans, led by brave warriors like Commander Psylocke and Dr. Emily Johnson, were fighting back with everything they had, and they were winning. As the battle between the humans and aliens continued to rage, Emperor Orcs grew increasingly frustrated with his army's inability to crush the human resistance. He couldn't believe that a species as primitive as the humans could pose such a significant threat to his empire, and he was determined to put an end to their defiance once and for all. In a fit of rage, Orcs ordered his most trusted general, Xander, to lead a massive assault on Earth's main defenses. Xander was a ruthless and cunning warrior who had never lost a battle, and Orcs was confident that he would be able to break through the human lines and secure a decisive victory. However, what Orcs didn't know was that Commander Psylocke had been secretly communicating with Xander, trying to convince him to switch sides and join the human resistance. Psylocke knew that Xander was a formidable opponent, but he also knew that he was not blindly loyal to Orcs, and could be persuaded to see reason. Through a series of covert messages and secret meetings, Psylocke was able to convince Xander that Zorax's campaign against the humans was unjust, and that the aliens would be better off seeking peace and cooperation with Earth. Xandar, who had grown weary of Zorax's tyrannical rule, agreed to join forces with the humans and help them in their fight against the alien empire. As Xandar's fleet approached Earth, the humans braced themselves for what they feared would be a devastating attack. However, to their surprise, Xandar's ships suddenly broke formation and began firing on the other alien vessels, catching them completely off guard. Zorax, who was watching the battle from his command ship, was stunned by this sudden betrayal. He couldn't believe that one of his most trusted generals had turned against him, and he knew that this development could spell disaster for his empire. Seizing the opportunity, the human fleet launched a coordinated attack on the alien ships, using their advanced technology and tactical expertise to outmaneuver and outgun their opponents. With Xandar's help, they were able to break through the alien lines and push them back towards their own territory. As the battle raged on, Zorax grew increasingly desperate. He knew that he was losing control of the situation, and he feared that his empire was on the brink of collapse. In a last-ditch effort to turn the tide of the war, he ordered his remaining ships to launch a full-scale invasion of Earth, determined to crush the human resistance once and for all. However, the humans were ready for him. Using the advanced technology and weaponry that they had developed with the help of Psylocke and Xandar, they were able to repel the alien invasion and drive Zorax's forces back into space. As the alien ships retreated, the humans celebrated their victory. They knew that they had won a major battle, but they also knew that the war was far from over. Zorax was still out there, and he would stop at nothing to destroy them and conquer their planet. In the aftermath of the battle, Psylocke and Xandar met with the human leaders to discuss their next move. They knew that they needed to strike while the iron was hot and press their advantage against Zorax's weakened forces. Together, they developed a plan to launch a surprise attack on Zorax's command ship, hoping to capture the Emperor and force him to surrender. It was a risky move, but they knew that it was their best chance of ending the war once and for all. As the human and alien ships prepared for their final assault, Zorax was consumed by rage and despair. He knew that his empire was crumbling around him, and he couldn't bear the thought of being defeated by a species as inferior as the humans. In a moment of madness, Zorax decided to take matters into his own hands. He would lead the attack on the human fleet himself, determined to crush them with his own two hands. As Zorax's ship approached the human fleet, Psylocke and Xandar watched in horror. They knew that this was their chance to end the war, but they also knew that Zorax was a formidable opponent who would not go down without a fight. As the two fleets clashed in a final desperate battle, the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. The humans and their alien allies fought with everything they had, determined to protect their home and their way of life. And as the battle raged on, they knew that everything they had fought for, everything they had sacrificed, would come down to this one moment, this one chance to save their world and secure their future. The final battle between the humans and the aliens was about to begin. Emperor Zorax, in his arrogance and desperation, had decided to lead the attack on the human fleet himself. He was determined to crush the humans and their alien allies once and for all, and he would stop at nothing to achieve his goal. On the other side, Commander Psylocke and General Xandar were busy preparing their own forces for the upcoming battle. They knew that this was their last chance to end the war and save Earth from Zorax's tyranny, and they were determined to make it count. As the two fleets approached each other, the tension in the air was palpable. The human ships, armed with the advanced technology and weaponry that they had developed with the help of their alien allies, looked formidable and ready for battle. The alien ships, on the other hand, looked battered and worn down from the previous engagements, but still posed a significant threat. Suddenly, without warning, Zorax's ship opened fire on the human fleet. The humans were caught off guard. but quickly regrouped and returned fire. The two fleets clashed in a massive, chaotic battle that lit up the sky with explosions and laser fire. Xylox and Xander, leading their respective ships, fought bravely against Zorax's forces. They used every trick and tactic they knew to outmaneuver and outgun the enemy ships, but Zorax's fleet was still a formidable opponent. As the battle raged on, Zorax's ship managed to break through the human lines and head straight for Xylox's ship. Zorax was determined to take out the traitor who had betrayed him, and he would stop at nothing to do so. Xylox, seeing the danger, ordered his crew to prepare for impact. He knew that this was a fight that he might not walk away from, but he was ready to sacrifice himself for the greater good. Just as Zorax's ship was about to ram into Xylox's ship, Xander's vessel came out of nowhere and intercepted the attack. The two alien ships collided in a massive explosion that rocked the entire battlefield. For a moment, everything was silent. The humans and their allies watched in shock as the two alien ships, once enemies, now lay destroyed in front of them. They had no idea if Xander or Zorax had survived the impact, but they knew that the battle was far from over. Suddenly, out of the wreckage of Zorax's ship, a small escape pod emerged. It was Zorax, battered and bruised, but still alive. He had managed to escape the destruction of his ship, but he was now alone and vulnerable. Xylox, seeing his chance, ordered his ship to capture Zorax's escape pod. He knew that this was their chance to end the war once and for all, and he was not going to let it slip away. As Xylox's ship approached Zorax's escape pod, the humans and their allies held their breath. They knew that this was the moment that would decide the fate of the galaxy, and they were ready to do whatever it took to secure their victory. Just as Xylox's ship was about to capture Zorax's pod, a massive explosion rocked the battlefield once again. It was Xander's ship, badly damaged but still operational. Xander, who had survived the collision with Zorax's ship, had managed to fire off one last shot before his vessel was destroyed. The shot hit Zorax's escape pod directly, and the Emperor was vaporized in an instant. The humans and their allies watched in amazement as the once mighty Emperor Zorax, who had threatened to conquer the galaxy and enslave humanity, was reduced to nothing more than a cloud of dust and debris. With Zorax's death, the remaining alien ships quickly surrendered. They knew that they had no chance of winning without their leader, and they had no desire to continue fighting a losing battle. The humans and their alien allies had won. They had defeated the mighty alien empire and saved Earth from certain destruction. It had been a long and difficult fight, but in the end, the power of unity and collaboration had triumphed over the forces of tyranny and oppression. As the humans and their allies celebrated their victory, they knew that this was just the beginning. They had won the battle, but there was still much work to be done. They needed to rebuild their world, forge new alliances, and ensure that nothing like this ever happened again. But for now, they could rest and bask in the glory of their triumph. They had proven that even in the face of impossible odds, the human spirit could not be broken. They had shown that when people from different worlds and cultures come together and fight for a common cause, there is nothing that they cannot achieve. In the aftermath of the great battle, the humans and their alien allies set about the task of rebuilding and repairing the damage that had been done. It was a monumental task, but one that they were all committed to seeing through. Commander Xylox and Dr. Emily Johnson worked tirelessly to help the human race recover from the war. They used their knowledge and expertise to help rebuild the human fleet, making it stronger and more advanced than ever before. They also worked to establish new alliances with other alien races, knowing that the key to ensuring lasting peace was through cooperation and understanding. They traveled to distant stars and planets, spreading the message of unity and collaboration wherever they went. Back on Earth, the human race was slowly but surely getting back on its feet. Cities were rebuilt, and societies were reformed. The people of Earth had learned a valuable lesson from the war, that they were stronger together than they ever could be apart. As the years passed, Earth became a hub of intergalactic trade and diplomacy. The human race was no longer seen as a primitive and insignificant species, but rather as a valuable member of the galactic community. Psylocke and Emily, now hailed as heroes across the galaxy, continued to work tirelessly to maintain the peace and prosperity that they had fought so hard to achieve. They knew that there would always be challenges and obstacles to overcome, but they were ready to face them head-on. One day, as they were sitting in their shared office, reminiscing about the events of the war, they received a surprising visitor. It was Xander, the alien general who had sacrificed himself to save them during the final battle. Xander had survived the destruction of his ship, but just barely. He had been floating in space for years, waiting to be rescued. When he was finally found and brought back to Earth, he had only one request: to see the two people who had changed his life forever. Psylocke and Emily were overjoyed to see their old friend and ally. They embraced him warmly, tears streaming down their faces. They had thought him lost forever, but here he was, standing before them once again. Xander told them of his experiences since the war, of the countless worlds he had seen, and the many races he had encountered. He had been spreading the message of peace and unity, just as Psylocke and Emily had been doing. Together, the three of them made a pact to continue their work, to ensure that the galaxy remained a place of harmony and prosperity for all. They knew that it would not be easy, but they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As they looked out at the stars, they knew that they had achieved something truly remarkable. They had not only saved Earth, but they had also helped to create a new era of peace and cooperation across the galaxy. And so, the story of the war between the humans and the aliens became a legend, passed down from generation to generation. It was a story of bravery, sacrifice, and the unbreakable spirit of those who had fought for what they believed in. For Psylocke, Emily, and Xander, it was a story that they would never forget. They had been through so much together, and had forged a bond that could never be broken. As they sat there, watching the stars twinkle in the night sky, they knew that they had made a difference. They had helped to create a better future for all, and that was something that they could be proud of for the rest of their lives. And so, the tale of the alien emperor who had mocked humanity came to an end. It had been a long and difficult journey, but in the end, the power of unity and collaboration had triumphed over the forces of tyranny and oppression. The galaxy would never be the same again, but that was a good thing. For now, there was peace and prosperity for all, and that was something that everyone could be grateful for. As Psylocke, Emily, and Xander looked to the future, they knew that there would be many more adventures and challenges to come, but they were ready for them, armed with the knowledge and experience that they had gained from their time together. They had saved the galaxy once, and they would do it again if they had to. For now, though, they could rest and bask in the glory of their triumph, knowing that they had made a difference that would last for generations to come. Years turned into decades, and the peace that Psylocke, Emily, and Xander had fought so hard to achieve continued to flourish across the galaxy. Earth had become a shining example of what could be accomplished when different species worked together towards a common goal. The three friends continued to work tirelessly to maintain the alliances they had forged and to explore new frontiers. They had become more than just heroes. They were symbols of hope and inspiration to people across the galaxy. One day, as they were preparing for a diplomatic mission to a newly discovered planet, they received an unexpected message. It was from a young alien girl named Zora, who claimed to be the daughter of Emperor Zorax. At first, they were skeptical. They had seen Zorax vaporized with their own eyes. But as they listened to Zora's story, they realized that she was telling the truth. Zorax, it turned out, had not been alone in his escape pod during the final battle. His mate, a female of his species, had been with him, and she had given birth to Zora shortly before Zorax's death. Zora had grown up hearing stories of her father's great empire and his defeat at the hands of the humans and their allies. But rather than seeking revenge, she had become fascinated by the idea of peace and cooperation. She had reached out to Psylocke, Emily, and Xander in the hope that they could help her to build a new life, one that was not defined by her father's legacy of conquest and tyranny. The three friends were deeply moved by Zora's story. They knew that they had to help her, no matter what. And so, they invited her to come to Earth, to see for herself the wonders that could be achieved when different species worked together. Zora accepted their invitation, and soon found herself standing on the surface of the planet that her father had once sought to conquer. She was amazed by what she saw: the towering cities, the lush green forests, the vibrant cultures that had flourished in the years since the war. As she spent time with Psylocke, Emily, and Xander, Zora began to understand the true meaning of peace and cooperation. She saw how the three friends had worked together to build a better future for all, and she knew that she wanted to be a part of that future. Under their guidance, Zora began to learn the ways of diplomacy and leadership. She traveled with them to distant worlds, meeting new species and building new alliances. And as she grew and learned, she began to realize that she had a unique role to play in the galaxy. As the daughter of Emperor Zorax, she had a powerful symbol, one that could be used to inspire others to turn away from the path of conquest and destruction. And so, with the help of her new friends, she began to spread the message of peace and unity across the stars. Years passed, and Zora became a leader in her own right. She worked tirelessly to build bridges between different species and to promote the values of cooperation and understanding. And as she looked back on her journey, she knew that none of it would have been possible without the help of Psylocke, Emily, and Xander. They had shown her the way, and had given her the courage to forge her own path. In the end, the story of the war between the humans and the aliens had become more than just a legend. It had become a symbol of hope and inspiration for generations to come. And as Zora stood on the balcony of her new home, looking out at the stars, she knew that she was proud to be a part of that story. She had helped to build a better future for all, and that was a legacy that would endure long after she was gone. For Psylocke, Emily, and Xander, watching Zora grow and become a leader in her own right was the greatest reward they could have asked for. They had fought so hard to create a galaxy of peace and cooperation, and now they had the chance to see the fruits of their labor in the next generation. They knew that the journey was far from over. There would always be new challenges and obstacles to overcome, but they also knew that as long as there were those who believed in the power of unity and collaboration, there was nothing that could not be achieved. And so, the story of the alien emperor who had once mocked humanity came to a close. But the story of the galaxy that had been forever changed by the power of cooperation and understanding was only just beginning. Image prompt. Here's a single image prompt related to your story that you can use to create an image with Leonardo AI, a stunning galactic vista featuring a diverse array of spaceships from various alien races, with the Earth in the background. Commander Psylocke, Dr. Emily Johnson, and General Xander stand together in the foreground, gazing at the stars with hope and determination in their eyes. Zora, the daughter of the defeated Emperor Zorax, stands with them, symbolizing the new era of peace and unity that they have fought so hard to achieve.